To talk about something though, before we get into the Nipsey stuff, before we get into a couple other things, I wanted to talk about this. I saw this recently on Threads. This is an old article, but apparently Paris Jackson has been saying she identifies as a black woman. I had to give a little bit of a pregnant pause there because I just feel like that's a lot to take in. um, I do get it though. Her father is like the most important black man in like world history. I know that sounds awful because you're like, Phil, what about like Nelson Mandela and like Martin Luther King and all that shit? And that's true, but they didn't have dance moves. And I think people need to start acknowledging that. All right? If I'm being honest, We Are the World probably could have ended apartheid right there. You know what I mean? If Michael was from South Africa, things would have been different. Things would have been different. But, that's just how shit go. But apparently, Paris Jackson has been saying that she is identifies as a black woman. And listen, you know, there's a lot of mixed race people out there. If we're looking at statistics of the way that America is going, truth be told, there's going to be more mixed race people the farther along the world gets. All right. And I think when this comes to blackness and all that type of stuff, if you got some black in you, you know what I mean? Especially if your father's black, you can claim that. That being said, you look at this woman and there's just not much, there's not, this is a male face, and I don't mean that in a derogatory term, but she definitely looks like the person who dips her fries in mayo, right? You know what I mean? She looks like the person who, if we were in the 90s and you said her ass looks fat, she would cry for hours. All right? She doesn't seem like, I mean, look at her hair. Look at her hair. Her father had to have years of physical abuse by his father to even perm his hair hard enough for his hair to look like that. Her hair is just here, naturally like that. She looks like she could be friends with Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie. Not saying she's not cool, not saying she probably doesn't have like fire bud. I've dated a lot of girls who look like this girl. And what I can tell you right here, right now, is that they all have a great credit score. Let's just say that. I won't say what race I think they identify as, but I will say they have a tremendous credit score. Okay, but this is I wanted to see what this was. Um, so let's just read into what she thinks all this is. It says Michael shot to fame as a young pop star in the band Jackson 5 alongside his siblings in the 1960s and went on to find worldwide success. That is one way. That's how you do it. You know, People like to talk about the past and old Hollywood as if it was just a bunch of people sucking and doing some strange things for a bit of change in some back rooms and going to the Diddy parties. But you know what? There was also people who worked hard. There was also groups of people who had a father like Joe Jackson just whipping them into shape, figuratively and literally. And I feel like that gets lost. So, yes, alongside his siblings in the 1960s, went to find worldwide success. Several of his hits include I Want You Back, Blame It on the Boogie, and Can You Feel It? While in later life, Michael had fair skin. The hitmaker was African American and had a darker complexion when he first became famous. Incredibly true, but it's one of those things too where it's like I feel like they're almost taking shots at him. Where it's like, yeah, they're like he was said to have vitiligo, which caused the pigmentation in his skin to go lighter as he got older. With Michael's African American heritage in mind, his daughter Paris identifies as black. Um, I get that, but at the same time, the way they're wording it makes it sound like he left her blackness in the will. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is my last will and testament. She gets all my houses, all my cars, and the right to not get a taxi in New York City. Uh, Weird, but I get it. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, it is her father and everything, but let's see where we can find her. talking about this. Discussing the matter with Rolling Stone magazine in 2017, Paris said that she considers herself black, saying, Michael would look me in the eyes and he'd point his finger at me and he'd be like, You're black. Be proud of your roots. Now, coming from a person, myself, uh, who had a mother who cared about me very deeply, whenever your parent takes you to the side and they point at you and be like, hey, you're this, you're usually not that. You know what I mean? Like when like when your mom pulls you to the side and you're like, hey, you're beautiful and smart. You're usually not. You're usually ugly and dumb. But she loves you so much, she has to tell you that. Because the thing is, if you weren't ugly and dumb, you'd probably just know that inherently. You know what I mean? So if somebody had to pull you aside and tell you that, you're probably not. But I don't know. Maybe it is true. Maybe people just don't have mothers that love them as much as mine, that is willing to lie to me. Basically, what I'm saying is Michael Jackson and my mom are the two greatest parents on the face of the earth. But let's keep going. And he'd be like, okay, he's my dad. And I'd be like, okay, he's my dad. Why would he lie to me? So I just believe what he told me because, to my knowledge, he's never lied to me. That's fair. That's actually kind of sweet. And that makes me feel bad about the past thing that I just said. That makes me actually feel terrible about what I just said. But it is still true. She actually goes to bring up, that there are mixed people who look like her because she has said, hey, listen, people think I look super fucking white. And there's also other mixed people who look super fucking white. And she brings up Wentworth Miller, being born to a black father and a white mother. If you guys don't know, Wentworth Miller is a guy who played Captain Cold. Wentworth Miller. There we go. He's British, which, technically, if you guys don't know, actually makes him less black. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, he's a Prison Break guy. Look at that guy. Captain Cold from The Flash. This guy. He's that guy. He does not look very black. So he could definitely pass. I would probably be asking what his father looks like, because there's a lot of people. Here's the thing: when it came to, Logic looks white. Yeah, somebody's like, Logic looks white too. He does. There's some people who look very, very white. I would say that though, when somebody looks like this, or looks like Logic, or looks like Paris, I would be asking what their father or their mother looks like. Well, let's be honest, what their father looks like. But like this dude, he probably, because I've seen, that's the thing about America when it comes to calling yourself black, not calling yourself black. You know what I mean? It's like, because America has the one drop rule. It's like you can be like an eighth black, and then your dad, who's a seventh black, fucks a white lady, and now you're technically like black, but you're like not black. You know what I mean? Like, he identifies as a black man. I appreciate that and everything. But if we're looking at my guy's hairline, there clearly is a distance between him and the African diaspora. Okay? Let's be real with you. Let's be real here. Okay? That hairline says all lives matter. Okay? That hairline says, I've never met a cop I didn't like. All right? That hairline says, I don't talk in movie theaters. Why would you do that? So let's see. You know what I mean? What does Logic's dad look like? I wonder, because Logic does look white. Logic looks white, but he also looks like, if we were in the 1940s, he would still have to live in the segregated part of town. You know what I mean? Like, he's still, okay. Yeah, so his dad is light skinned. His dad is very light skinned. You know what I mean? Like, Logic does look white, but his hair is very curly. It's a weird thing. It's like, he's the one step past Paris Jackson. Does that make sense? It's like, or one step before Paris Jackson. Like if Logic has a kid with a white lady, that kid is Paris Jackson. You know what I mean? His dad does look black though, and I'll be honest. Here when it comes from the Black Authority, the fedora makes him blacker. The fedora definitely makes him blacker. He looks like the dude from Mambo Number Five. You remember that? A little bit of Erica in my life. He looks like that dude. Yeah, the dude from Prison Break is black. I know. People don't realize that. People don't realize that. You know, there's a lot of secret black people. You know what I mean? Sometimes being black or being an ethnicity, I feel like when you're mixed with white, can almost be like being like Jewish or something. Like how like sometimes like people of the Jewish community will like change their last name and then like kind of not present that they're like Jewish or whatever because like the mainstream I guess won't accept it or something.